You see, when this whole pandemic hit us, we had no choice but to, you know, reshape the way we do things, right? Spoke on that last week. And 20 years in, um, a whole business structure, a whole um, paradigm has been shaken on its basis. And oh, Papa Keisha, sponsor premier, mon coucou, trop de dollars, ça peut faire mal. Thank you, thanks a lot, Papa K, thank you. Oh la la. And so as you as you have to take in consideration, especially for me, 20 years in this thing, my whole business paradigm shaken by this whole COVID, and not only me, all of us. And so we're adding all these, as I spoke on last week, different activities and things take time to come to life. Things do take time to blossom, right? Just because you planted a seed doesn't mean that you're going to have the success you wish to see happening right away. It just doesn't work like that, and so it's like, how do I go about making sure that I actually sorry, how do I go? How do I make sure that I actually go about what I do with as much peace in my mind as I can? GB Jigo. Oh, GB Blacker. Zotizo. Freedom always comes at a price. You have to free yourself from your parents, your wife, your man, preconceived ideas, and even be yourself. To be totally free. I agree, and that's exactly the point, and as you do what you do, you always have in mind, especially someone like myself and certainly many of us, we've been raised to, really take in consideration the fact that we don't want to disappoint our parents. We want to make them proud, and if we choose to go about the artistic career, then we go about it in a way that is such that it will really bring the results that we want to see coming to life, so that the people that we love the most can be proud of us, and before anything, that we can be proud of ourselves. That's great. But then nothing happens overnight. So we're talking about long term. And the very people that want you to do other things on the side of what you're doing. For example, and by saying that, they mean well. A lot of the time they really are worried about you. And I had this conversation earlier today with Keisha. We were actually talking on that very topic actually. And it's like people do mean very well, and they want to make sure that they see you in a financial state that allows you to really afford the life that you want to live. The thing is that me, I've always learned to be content with what I have. Not saying that I don't see more and I don't want more, but I was very much comfortable in the most uncomfortable of spaces and times. I've learned to build that muscle. It's not easy. It stretches your mental capacities to quite a bit of uncomfortable space, but it helps you sustain the pressure a little bit more than most people. And so it's just interesting, and loving the process of what you're building is of utmost importance. Only time brings the answers. Well, we couldn't agree more on that one. And it's true. This is the thing. And it's like when you try to explain that, but that you do have your everyday, situations going on. You got to pay bills. You got to do this. You got to do that. And it's like, okay, how do I make ends meet? Because here I am posed with the complicated choice of sticking to what I do and really being stubborn about it, but also trying to provide for my well-being, pay my bills, making sure that rent is paid, etc., etc., etc. When I'm in a situation and in a world pandemic, in a global pandemic that's affecting businesses on all aspects, and yeah, you can get a little job, but you gotta. It's just not easy, right? Um, and me, I'm a stubborn person. I'm very stubborn. When I'm decided to do something, I go for it, and I'm all in. Now, the problematic is that people and the people who love you the most usually won't really understand why you are being stubborn, why you are so focused. What do you see that I ain't seeing? Because I ain't seeing nothing from you doing these YouTube shows. I ain't seeing nothing from you doing these how do you call this these talks and these lives and etc etc. And I'm like, this is the thing, if everything you do is to see an instant gratification, which understandably so, when you got bills to pay, you got these kind of things to worry about, making sure that you can afford to pay them is of utmost importance. But well, I mean, if you manage to, keep your head above the water in times like these, it's pretty cool. You know what I mean? It means that you're doing something okay. And the thing is that because Rome was not built in one day, you have got to be patient with yourself and understand the process is a process. And there's nothing you can do about it but accept the fact that it takes resilience, it takes commitment and courage. And the reason why I want to talk about long term is because this is becoming the answer I'm giving. I'm going to give to more and more people asking me why I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm just going to give them the following: say it's long term vision. I've always said it, but I've always tried to argument it and try to enhance it with some explanations and try to give people that I think I got to the point where I got tired of trying to explain myself, and it's so funny because very few people understand the mathematics behind what we're doing, the science behind what we're doing. This whole Monday quality talks, these quarantine grooves, etc., etc. What it's not only um, content creation, but it's adding value to people's life by adding value to my own life, because doing these talks also is very helping. Not only for me, but I believe for all of you, because we get to open up about things, we get to speak. And yes, it's maybe a little bit impersonal because it's still via this tool that's very very much virtual, but nonetheless, it's a beautiful opportunity to express ourselves and talk about things that we hold close to heart, and just have intelligent, constructive, positive, and empowering conversations. That's what this is about, and it's also going out of your comfort zone. That's exactly what I'm doing. I'm not sticking to being a musician and producing music, which obviously is what is my number one love. But I'm understanding the full spectrum of my capacities and the asset that represents all my skills. And those are assets that I need to be using for the best advantage and beneficial impact of the business I'm trying to build, of the brand that I'm trying to build, of the bigger picture that I see, right? So I would not give myself any justice if I just stuck to being a producer or a DJ. It's learning to do your own graphic designs. It's learning to do all and everything pretty much by yourself, right? And that's not pretending to know better. That's not pretending to be better than anyone, but that's just saying, look, I'm committed to making sure that I work and I invest everything I can and everything I have in what I do. I would like to say that I'm very much the proof of that. I'm the proof of that because everything that I've done in my career, in my life, has been a reflection of exactly and just that, believing, you know, tremendously in myself. I remember the moment I became fully autonomous with my production. I didn't have the backing of some labels behind me at the time. Because I decided that I wanted to really focus on building, the Boddhi Satva brand and the label and my own label offering recordings. Um, you know, it was already at that time very bold and a little bit looked at as audacious and contemptuous for some, and it even kind of felt as a treason for some. But it wasn't anything like that. For me, it was more like I'm trying to honor what I've been brought to this, realm to be, the best version of myself I can possibly be, and that will be by trials and tribulations, learning through trials and tribulations, but also understanding that if I don't focus on building this at that moment, nobody's gonna do it for me. And so that doesn't mean that everything is perfect, but at least you give it in the time. But the problematic is that the big issue is that people around you, all they see is they see dollar bills. They see the issue that comes with the fact that you are not necessarily, as banking as you should, or you probably used to. Because that's the funny thing. It's like when the money is flowing abundantly, nobody's asking questions. When it gets a little bit, diminished because of, a global pandemic hitting everybody left and right, up and down, and most people are lying about their true realities, and those who are telling the truth and living the true life that they have, that's fantastic for them. And I think that's exactly what we're trying to achieve, is to get to that point where we can be stable and financially, comfortable enough to just go through a year or two or even three without working, but knowing that you've generated the efforts and spread your not spread yourself thin, but you spread yourself smartly enough, and through the network of your capacities and the vast array of your skills, you've spread yourself enough to create different stream of incomes.